So as Sharon has said, this is the fourth of a four-part series on peace that I've been presenting to you, especially peace within our hearts and our souls and our minds. And like in Peace Through Understanding, we learned how to attain peace in our lives by asking the question why, and coming to an understanding of the actions of others, as well as our own thoughts and emotions and actions. In part two about peace through truth, we looked at how to be true to ourselves by speaking truth to ourselves and to others, and how to use negotiation skills to ask for what we want in our lives. Then in part three, we talked about peace through forgiveness and about radical forgiveness and how to link our calculating mind, our logical mind, with our forgiving heart through the science of heart math. So today is part four, peace through accepting, allowing, and attracting. And we're going to employ kind of a different way of learning, not so much with techniques and questions and procedures, but by viewing and considering words of wisdom from sages and elders, people and spirits who have adopted the concept of simply to let go. Here we go. Yes, okay. Sometimes my computer gives me a little bit of challenge, but we have to accept that too. So the dictionary definition of acceptance is to receive approval or a proposal or a gift, to get something and we accept it and say thank you. But the spiritual definition is applicable to today's topic. That is to relinquish control to a higher power and thus believe that when that higher power, that universal energy, runs the show, we are in much better hands. Now, true acceptance is the ability to acknowledge the reality of a situation without resistance. We don't have to like what's happening. We don't have to want it or choose it or even support the situation. But if we simply recognize that it is what it is. Please pardon my cough. I'm getting over a little bit of a congestion. So acceptance doesn't mean that we can't work to change things or that we accept that a situation is going to be in a certain way forever. Instead, the beauty of acceptance is that it steers us away from the negatives, the what ifs and the could be's and the should be's. Acceptance allows us to create a positive mindset that allows us to focus on how to move forward. The how is simply a three-step process. Simply learn to let go. Number two is to value courage and effort over accomplishments, or as Buddhists say, let go of attachment to the end result. And then to practice positive self-talk. Now, a key statement in that regard is to tell ourselves, yes, today I would do better, or at least differently than what I have done in the past, back when I did something that I didn't like. But I accept the fact that I did the best I could with the knowledge and the resources and the abilities that I had back at that time. Now, these three steps are summarized very succinctly in the Serenity Prayer, with serenity being a synonym for peace. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Then we get into the definition of allowing. And that dictionary definition of allowing is to give approval or permission. Progressive churches say it this way, let go and let God. Or John Lennon said, let it be. Enabling us to let go of our lingering doubts and be okay with what is, we can do that. When we feel overwhelmed, we're reminded to give control and turn over the situation to that higher power, the universal energy. Now, the spiritual definition of allowing tells us to remember that we are all vibrational beings living in a vibrational universe. And that like vibrational frequencies attract other like vibrational frequencies. In other words, like attracts like, and negative attracts negative, positive attracts positive. So allowing focuses the idea that there are always things we can do to improve the present moment. That doesn't mean the present moment is flawed. It simply is what it is. Some say the present moment is always perfect. So rather than feeling dread or sadness about what is happening in the present moment, we can focus our energy on finding ways to make the present moment the best that it can be. And this will bring about peace in our lives. Now, by the way, the present moment doesn't only refer to this moment or this moment, something that's as quick as a snap of our fingers. I'm also talking about the stages in our lives that might involve an illness, a death in the family, a crisis at work, an unexpected accident or an incident or a financial difficulty. So this stage or this moment might go on for many months or years, but it is a moment in time, and it too will pass. Then we get into the third key word, which is attraction. Now, I know when I first presented this idea of this topic today to Anne, I did not include the idea of attracting. But as I developed my comments for today, that idea said, include me too, include me too. So I accepted that. And I did include this piece about attracting and the law of attraction. Again, a dictionary definition. Attraction or attracting is someone or something or some place that evokes our interest and pleasure, someplace we want to go or people we want to be with. But in this context, we're going to talk about attraction as a synonym for manifestation. In fact, there is a law of attraction that relates to that spiritual definition of allowing. The law of attraction suggests that positive thoughts manifest positive results, while negative thoughts manifest negative results. So the law of attraction also suggests that similar things and similar people are attracted to one another, which is why we have tribes and congregations and fellowships and political parties and like-minded social groups. That's why we have cliques in high school. People like to hang out with similar folks. And while I believe there's a certain component of personal choice involved with who we choose to hang out with, I also believe that the universal energy has a hand in guiding us. As an example, here's a little story. Last October, I attended a day-long workshop with a certain man, in which a certain man and I were assigned to the same breakout group. Now, he had an energy to which I was attracted. We spoke briefly afterward, and we agreed to talk some more on some other day. We had that conversation in January. We met for breakfast and we talked at length, and I was just taken with his great enthusiasm and also his story about an altruistic foundation that he and his wife created to honor their daughter who had died at the age of 13. Now, he was passionate with energy for the good work that the foundation was doing to help other youths and to build a positive community in which these young people can grow and prosper and feel comfortable with themselves and make the world better for other people. I asked him how his daughter died. He said, she took her own life. And then he went on to explain how, through the aid and grace of spiritual healers, he and his wife and his older daughter had learned not only to accept the fact of the daughter's death, but to embrace the grief of her death, along with joy and gratitude for the joy that she had brought to the family before she died. Now, this man explained how this daughter's sudden death and unexpected death had motivated them to alter their lives and work diligently to make the world a better place for other children and teens through the foundation that they had formed. And they have a place, or they've made the decision to raise their vibrational energy, which of course is intrinsically linked with the divine energy. Now, in regard to that energy, there's a great book I want to recommend. It's titled Power versus Force, The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior. It's by physician and doctor of philosophy, David R. Hawkins. It contains several chapters and a chart that reveals the vibrational energy of various emotions. The blue cover image on the left is the book that I own and purchased more than a decade ago. And the black and white image on the right is the current version that you will probably find if you look for it on the internet. Here's a vibrational scale that relates to some of the messages here in Hawkins' book. Notice that enlightenment is at the top, and he's assigned on the scale an energy level of 1200. Shame is at the bottom of that scale, and it has an energy level of only 20. In between, there are 15 other vibrational frequencies associated with various emotions. Some of them are shown here on this emotional scale on the image, and the other numbers I took from Hawkins' book. Notice that grief vibrates at 75, which is where my friend could be in regard to the loss of his daughter. He could have been angry, which vibrates at an energy of 150. Neutrality, feeling complacent, has a vibrational energy of 250. Acceptance, one of the key words we're talking about today, is at 350. Love is at 500. And peace, which we want to attain, is at 600. Now, Hawkins makes the point that none of these emotions are bad or wrong. They're simply different points on a continuum. No matter where our emotions resonate on the scale at any given moment, they are simply an opportunity or a choice for us to accept that emotion, to live with it as it is, and or resolve to move up to a higher vibration. In fact, if we are in a state of grief or anger, let's say grief at that vibrational level of 75, and if we choose to accept the reason for our grief, we automatically elevate ourselves to the vibrational energy of acceptance, which Hawkins rates at 350. I highly recommend this book, Power versus Force. It's one of the most enlightening books that I've ever read. Read it about a decade ago and have recently picked it up again, not only to prepare for this talk, but to just read parts of it again. And you can find similar charts, vibrational or emotional guidance scales online. Just search for the words, something like emotional guidance scale. Now, the fact that Hawkins rates enlightenment as the highest vibration reminds me of a story of acceptance that involves a holy guru and a young novice monk. The novice monk asks the elder, "What did you do before attaining enlightenment?" And the guru replies, "Chop wood and carry water." "And what did you do now that you have attained enlightenment?" The guru replies, "Chop wood and carry water." In other words, even the holiest of holy people, the most enlightened individuals, still accept the fact that their soul exists in a living human body. And each of us has a responsibility to maintain the health of our bodies through hydration and nourishment, exercise and rest, and to pay attention to our creature comforts through warmth and food. The short story reminds us, metaphorically, to accept the fact that we must chop wood and carry water, whatever that means to us. We need to pay the bills, clean our house, shop for groceries and cook meals, make sure that the water pipes don't freeze in the wintertime, and that our car is in a reliable condition, that we're able to get to where we want to go. Another great book that I highly recommend is The Astonishing Power of Emotions. Let Your Feelings Be Your Guide It's written by Esther and Jerry Hicks. So as a little background, Esther Hicks channels a spiritual entity who goes by the name Abraham. Now, Abraham is a conglomeration of spiritual energy that encompasses more than one entity. We know this because as Abraham speaks through Esther, and he does so, or the entity does so, in the first person plural, using pronouns like we and our. For example, we want you in your human form to feel empowered beyond your wildest dreams. That is our intention. Abraham often speaks through Esther about the art of allowing, which relates to the emotional guidance skill we saw a little while ago. Now, the art of allowing is about aligning ourselves vibrationally and with our desires and creating a harmonious resonance that facilitates our manifestation process. According to Abraham, pardon me, according to Abraham, who is also known as Abraham Hicks because of being channeled through Esther Hicks, there are 5 phases of manifestation: emotion, thought and ideas, a rendezvous with nature, helpful people and situations, and then the physical manifestation. This is similar to a concept I learned when I worked as a writer of management training materials for corporations. That is, there are 3 elements necessary for the completion of a project or manifestation of a goal. And those 3 elements are desire, confidence, and effort. Desire is the emotion, of course, that relates to number 1, of which you can see on your screen. Confidence is our thoughts and ideas that we believe in ourselves, that we accept ourselves and our ability to make what we want happen. And action will lead us to the rendezvous with nature, into association with the helpful people and situations who will make our manifestations come more easily to us. And of course, action leads to that final step, the physical manifestation of what we desire. The steps to implement the law of attraction and the art of allowing are: 1, to be grateful, to be thankful for what we have. This is gratitude, though just high on the emotional scale. Number 2 is to visualize our goals, create the space in our mind to allow the objectives to manifest. Number 3 is to look for positives in any situation, which means at any moment in the process, look for what is good, which of course links us back to be grateful. Number 4 is to learn how to identify negative thinking and then sweep those negative thoughts out of your mind, just as you clear your mind for meditation. Number 5, use affirmations. And remember that affirmations are personal, positive, and in the present tense. For example, I am. They are I am statements. I am healthy. I am at my desirable weight. I am confident in what I have to say, or whatever you want to accomplish. And number 6 is to, like the opposite of number 5, refrain from any negatives and reframe them back into a more positive way. Ask, for example, what can we learn from this setback? What can we learn from just what happened? I had an example about that yesterday. I'm trying to prepare for a half marathon by 1 day a week, going out and walking a great distance. Yesterday, I had planned to walk 8 miles. After 5, I was tired. I walked 6. I said, this is enough. Why was I not able to walk the full 8? Was it because I was walking later in the day? Maybe I had eaten too much before I went out for my walk. Maybe it's because I was too active the night before. What can we learn from anything that appears to be a setback or detrimental? Or in the case of the parents, my friend who lost their daughter to suicide, what can we do on this day to move forward, to honor our daughter who brought much joy to us in the years that she was with us? Now, here's a key point about accepting, allowing, and attracting, and that is to keep going. Abraham Hicks uses this beautiful metaphor. Let's say we want to take a trip to Winnipeg. So we get in our car in Sarnia, and then we state our intention that we want to go to Winnipeg to some higher power who we can't see. That higher power, in this case, is our GPS. We tell the GPS, take us to Winnipeg. And the GPS tells us to drive through Michigan. And we say, really? Well, okay, sure. So we start on our journey. Then the GPS takes us into Wisconsin, and we begin to get concerned. We say, Winnipeg is in Canada. What are we doing in the United States? Then the GPS takes us into Minnesota, and doubt really enters our mind. We say, what if there is no Winnipeg? What if it's a rumor or just a spot on the map? Maybe in a state of despair, we say, I'm going to turn around. I'm just going to go home. I want to go home and be in my comfort zone. Now, in this metaphorical example, do we turn around? Do we stop along the highway and give up? No, of course not. We trust that Winnipeg is truly there at the end of our journey. But what if our goal that we want to manifest is equally invisible? That great job, the terrific relationship, enough money to do whatever we want. At the start of our journey, we can't see those goals any more than we can see Winnipeg from 1,000 or 100 miles away. At any given point, how do we know how far we are on the journey toward manifestation? Is what we want to attract right around the corner? Will it appear in the next moment, the next breath, the next phone call, the next email or text message? We don't know, but we keep going. We let go of doubt. We believe, we persist. We trust in that higher power, the divine universe, who can manifest anything and everything. And really, everything we've been talking about with this entire series, whether it's understanding, truth, forgiveness, accepting, allowing, attracting, they're all components of that higher power. Look at the miracle of who we are in our body and our soul. Each of us and all of us collectively are divine miracles who come and have come into existence because our parents had a vision to birth a child into the world, and that was us. And I believe our parents, and hopefully everyone who wants each of us to know peace, they want us to know peace in our hearts and to be manifestors of peace. So I just ask, take that thought with you as you go out into the world today and share it with others with whom you might meet. And thank you again for allowing me to come here via Zoom and share some thoughts and ideas with you.